Alrighty. Hello, everyone. For my project, I created an AI-assisted feedback tool called Argumentative Writing Feedback Coach. Um, the purpose of the tool was to actually be able to provide feedback on argumentative writing. Um, I connected it to one of the seventh grade ELA units, brain science. So I gave it student samples that were related to that. I started off by giving it some background information about my students, the learning objectives. Um, our computer is lagging really bad and it won't load the show more. So I'll just explain. But I also gave it the assignment instructions, some success criteria, as well as giving it some guardrails to ensure that it will provide constructive feedback, um, and avoid rewriting student work. Um, so I tested the tool. I used about 10 samples, with a range of different performance levels. There were strong responses, average, weaker responses, and some that had um, misconceptions. So as I was reviewing the feedback, I had to go back and forth with chat a little bit, to get it to revise the way that I needed it to. Um, so these were the student samples that I gave it. So as you can see, there's different types samples, and there were 10 of them. So as I went through, I did have to intervene and revise the workflow a few times. One major revision focused on helping the tool better distinguish between summary and analysis. Um, I also revised it to identify misconceptions, um, portions of writing where there were unsupported conclusions. For example, some students assume that because teenagers experience challenges with impulse control, they should not be held responsible for their actions. So I adjusted the tool so that it would recognize and address those misunderstandings directly. Um, I also, towards the end, had to let it know that the feedback needed to be understood by middle school students, because prior to that, I noticed that the feedback was very thorough, but it was a little higher level, to where I could see students being confused by the feedback that it was giving. So throughout the process, the feedback became more accurate and more specific, and more aligned with my instructional goals. So the final version of the tool ended up providing stronger revision suggestions, more realistic, and things that students could actually understand. So if you take a look here, the wording is just much more understandable by someone who's in seventh grade. Um, Overall, I think the project really reinforced the importance of keeping human judgment at the center of AI-assisted feedback. Although AI can be something that's useful, you also want to make sure that it's giving things that are accurate, that are actually going to help you improve. Um, so as my role as a teacher, I wanted to remain as the one of the sources in ensuring that AI was um, revising and evaluating it properly.